said in your programme how proud you are of this team. Also, final game here, home game I should say, of the season. What are you hoping to see today?
I want to see a performance that has the energy and commitment we had last week, but with the quality that we expect of ourselves. I think from the team, you know, we looked at the performance against Tottenham. It was just a little bit uncharacteristic of us, and so we have to raise our standards today. And that's what I want to see. Like, I'm really proud of what the players have done. Look, we live in a world where success is demanded, and the relative success of the team and what they've done, I'm really incredibly proud of the effort they've put in. If you see, we played the most games in Europe, and I think with a small squad, I think I'm really proud of what they've done. And what I want to do today is give our fans a good send-off on our last home fixture of the season, because I think they deserve that.
Dario, it's been a very long season, of course, but you've had some great results, especially as of late. How have you kept that momentum and that motivation in the players coming into this one today?
Look, just back to basics really, same as every other week. So we always analyse after the game and how we can improve as a team and also individually. So it's been another good week of training, and you know we know we've got a very tough week ahead of us, and we look forward to today's challenge.
And just a quick one on the changes to the team. Is that why you've had plenty of changes? Melvin, Mallard and Ella Toon, just to name two, are in the squad today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, as I say, I'm so proud. Even the team that started last week, I'm proud of what they've given this season and everything. But today it just needed that fluidity again. And, you know, we've missed our players for a long time. If I said to you how long these players can only play these minutes and so on, like I've had to manage the squad for a long period of time. So today's about unleashing, with 2 games to go as well, unleashing what they can do and going as far as they can go in the games.
There's only one change coming into this one today. Can you talk us through that and why only one change?
Just a little bit, just seeing with what Rosa can do, and also she's locked for the midweek game. So just trying to get a little bit of freshness throughout the squad that we can manage for all the 3 games.
Well, go well today, Dario. Thank you for talking to us.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Manchester United head coach talking about that goalless draw against Tottenham being uncharacteristic of his side, hoping to give the fans a good send-off today in this final home game of the league season. Brighton with that impressive 3-2 victory against the leaders Manchester City in their last league game have made the end of the Barclays Women's Super League season more interesting. Is the title race still on? So the 2 sets of players walking out onto the pitch. Mela Tissier, the captain for the home side. Maisie Simons, the skipper for the visitors. The sun shining on a May afternoon. injured. She was doing some really good link-up play between her and Jess Park, and the two of them were thriving, so excited to see what she can bring to this Manchester United side today. And we're seeing the applause for Leah Galton, who announced this week that she will be leaving the club at the end of this season. One of the last originals, Leah Galton, and clearly an emotional moment for her. A player, sadly, who has struggled with injuries recently, Fern.
Yeah, not seen the best of her of late, as you say, due to those injuries, but fantastic to see her getting the send-off that she deserves.
171 appearances and 44 goals in a Manchester United shirt before today. Might she get a chance off the bench? And then a huddle from Brighton, and in there somewhere is Kiko Seke, and she is in brilliant goal-scoring form at the moment, Fern.
Yeah, she's a player I think we should be really keeping our eye out for today. As you say, she's in fantastic goal-scoring form, aiming to score a fifth successive goal on the run for Brighton across those games. And she scored in the win last week versus Manchester City, so she not only scores screamers of goals, but she has that capability to defend, that out-of-possession work rate as well for her. Really adds to the way that how Brighton look to play as a side. So again, another player that will be key today for them.
A final home game of the season for Manchester United, with Mark Skinner calling to his players to give the fans something to cheer about. Brighton has never won here. Could they, though, make it back-to-back wins against Manchester clubs this afternoon?
It's a really good opportunity for Brighton today, isn't it? Just to show what they're capable of as a side. As you say, beating Arsenal recently in the FA Cup, then beating Manchester City. So a really good test for them today against the Manchester United side that, you know, maybe didn't perform as they would have liked last week in the 0-0 draw against Tottenham Hotspur. But now they've made the numerous amount of changes, as you say, that we expect to see a very different Manchester United side today.
Yes, changes that feel like a stronger Manchester United side to start today. Dario Vidicic, the visiting head coach, who will be taking his team into at least an FA Cup semi-final. But will have been, I'm sure, very pleased with that result against Manchester City as well. And very early in this game, Madison Haley is down and holding her head. Mentioning that Manchester City game, she scored a couple of goals in that fixture, but now the medical staff very quickly on the forwards.
Yeah, it was just that early clash, wasn't it, with Gabby George, who's playing in that centre-back position today. We've seen her floating between centre-back, but predominantly used to seeing her in that full-back position for Man United, but coming in for Millie Turner today, we see what job she can do in that centre-half position. She's someone who likes to go in aggressively. We thought here within that headed clash against Madison Haley. As you say, Madison Haley is such an important player for Brighton, and Hove Albion can score goals, but again, just again that out of possession work rate that we see across the board with Brighton this season.
So Haley okay, but will now have to step off the pitch briefly. Turn back to Tallis Joyce with the Manchester United goal. The home side, as you would expect, in their red tops and black shorts. Brighton in that blue and white kit as Manchester United burst forward. Quickly taken throw in. Some early urgency from Ella Toone. So she came off the bench against Tottenham, but a start for the England international this afternoon.
Yeah, as you say, we're already seeing that urgency from her. looking to come into feet, but also looking to provide those runs in advance that just gives the Brighton defenders something extra to think about. Comes to Riviere. Tries to stay with her. Will be a run for Rolfo. Collect the ball again. Back to two. Now a chance for a cross into the 6-yard box. And an important interception to stop it finding its way all the way to Melvin Mallard. Yeah, Brighton are going to have to be really, really switched on within these opening 10-15 minutes. Manchester United really look like they're coming out to play today. Sandberg with the crossing, looking to find Mallard early, and it's good defending from Brighton. But really important to stay switched on from this set piece. So first corner of this game will be for the home side. Corner comes in, finds the head of Hayes to be taken away. Just trying to get it out of their 18-yard box. Yeah, really good defending from Caitlin Hayes on both occasions there with her head. She is really strong aerially, and we expect her to be quite busy today in those central areas. A flat first half by all accounts at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Manchester United. Not what Mark Skinner was expecting from his team. I think hoping for a response this afternoon. Titier back to Tallis Joyce. Zawa. Ball out to the right hand side. Brighton briefly pick up possession. Took a little deflection. Forward from Venegas. Riviere with the last touch to take it out of play. Ball will come to Minami. Mallard stays with her. Ball will go back to Nadosi. That's good defending there from Manchester United. Just see them be patient in the way they press Brighton, then letting them kind of set themselves into a little bit of a trap. And now managing to open up and try and find those spaces that Brighton have left. Bit of pressure pays off, and it's Brighton breaking forward. The angle getting slightly awkward. Still going forwards with Tankovic, and a first opportunity for Brighton in this game. Yeah, and Brighton just showing what they can do and how dangerous they can be, especially in those transitioning moments. And you know, a little bit of a slip up there for Bale in the centre of the park, and opportunity for Brighton to capitalise on, which I thought Gabby George did really, really well to just stand up and defend and be patient in the way she approached that defensive moment. Fran Kirby with this corner for Brighton. Dealt with at the near post, but will go out for a second successive corner off the legs of Gabby George. Let's see where this corner goes. This one to the far post. Zero Brighton head and over. Yeah, Frank Kirby's up to
change it up a little bit there with the delivery. Instead of going to the front post, she's gone long and deep with this. Miss Caitlin Hayes has positioned herself really, really well. Found herself unmarked, and I think she'd be disappointed she couldn't see that one goal. It's actually a really good opportunity. Manchester United failing to score against Tottenham while Brighton were scoring 3 against the league leaders. Following their FA Cup win against Arsenal. Looking to extend their unbeaten run to 5 games here this afternoon as Racing Ella Toon is halted in her tracks by a raised flag by the referee's assistant.
Yeah, Brighton doing well just to manage the line there and communicate the back line, but I think for me, just shows that intent for Manchester United, looking to switch it early, find the space out on that left-hand side, and 2 with those advancing runs. It's clearly different to the way they approached last week and the way they started this game. They looked a lot brighter, a lot more switched on early on.
Turn from Haley. Haley threads it forward to Seke. Sandberg keeping an eye on her. I'm sure that was the instruction to the Manchester United number 2 this afternoon. Stick to Seke.
I think it's going to be a really interesting match-up between Sandberg and Seke, just down that right-hand side to Brighton.
Back heel. Haley will try and turn. Managed to do so. Toon is squeezed between a couple of Brighton players. Okay, hoping to find Kirby. Slip from Inami, just sort of checking her boots there as well. It finds its way back to Nadosi, the Nigerian international. Now forward to Vigiotti. She cuts it back to Park. Soon. Block at close range. Back to George, but everybody for a moment staying inside the Brighton half of the pitch. Brought down by the chest of Bruyere. Good control from her. Has to be taken out by Gabaji. He's been busy for Brighton, I think, in his early stages.
Yeah, it's a really good initial ball from Letizia, just to find Jay Villiers out on that right-hand side. For quality defenders from Gabaji. Opportunity for Brighton to kind of switch on again. From this corner, they don't concede many. In fact, they haven't conceded any from corners this whole season, Brighton, so far. So, really opportunity for them to continue on that good form.
Corner is eventually delivered. And it's headed back to the corner taker Park. Now it's Sandberg who plays it back in. To Letizia. Rolfo. Looks to the back post, and it's Frank Kirby who leaps a little bit higher than Park. Kept into by Vigiotti. Riviere cuts it back. But another flag raised by the referee's assistant. But both teams are trying to be creative at the moment, Fern, aren't they?
Yeah, again, Brighton just managing to ride that wave of pressure,
from Manchester United. Jade Riviere did really, really well to keep that ball alive from Park. It just looked like it was going to go out to play. But again, a good start from Manchester United just to try and keep Brighton within their own final third. Mark Skinner, the longest serving manager in the BWSL, 5 seasons. This is 109th game in charge. Of course, has led this side into the Champions League. Relatively young side, of course, Manchester United. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk this season, as there, in terms of, you know, squad depth and have they got the players to be able to get to where they want to get to. And I think for me they've definitely got that quality in the side. It's just about increasing the depth within that, because we saw what impact it had on them when, you know, they've had injuries to such important players in terms of Toos, Sandberg, you know, Vonderheim coming back last week from injury as well. So yeah, for me I think a really positive season for them. And an opportunity for them to kind of just finish on a high, really, especially getting so far into the Champions League and doing so well within that run. Eventually losing 5-3 on aggregate to Bayern Munich. This is how things look currently. The Arsenal midweek thrashing of Leicester, 7-0 in the end. The victory for René Slager's side, who still have 2 games in hand. Thought maybe the title race was run, but who knows? Yeah, it seems to still be alive. I think for me, looking back at that table in terms of, you know, those lost points that Manchester United lost against Tottenham, I think that was a real opportunity for them to stay within those, you know, Champions League places. It looks to be, you know, difficult for them now, having Chelsea in that final game. Everything will go down to that one. Yeah, away against Chelsea will be Manchester United's final game of the league season. Brighton with a few more games to play. Arsenal on Wednesday, and that semi-final against Liverpool in the FA Cup to look forward to. Kirby just drops her shoulder. Her scoring record at Chelsea recently equalled by Sam Kerr. Fran Kirby. Yeah, she's a phenomenal player, isn't she? And you know, you can see what she brings to this team, not only kind of goal scoring, like you said, we used to see her do at Chelsea, but now she's providing those assists to really important goals for Brighton. She did so in the game last week for Madison Haley. You know, we see she's kind of being able to have that vision and maybe just step back a little bit, but provide the goals for Brighton, and her experience and her awareness, you know, second to none of what the Brighton side needs. .32 years old now, Fran Kirby. Still some goals in those boots, as well as some assists. Back to Palace Joy, 7 clean sheets this season in the league from the Manchester United keeper. Shared the Golden Glove with Hannah Hampton last season. Struggling to get it out from the back at the moment. Yeah, CJ Riviere just calling for it really early out on this right-hand side. Taking maybe that one extra pass to go into Tullis Joyce, into Mela Tissier, then to find it out, which is allowing Brighton to get themselves back into shape. It might be that they can try and pick her early and miss players out to find the space on that right-hand side. Throwing from Riviere to 2, comes back to Riviere, and now it's Haley who wins it back. Still going Haley, does he fancy a shot from there? She'll give it to Kirby, Kirby lays it back, and then it's just lifted over the crossbar. from the edge of the 18-yard box by Kankovic. You could see what Brighton were trying to do there. Is she disappointed she didn't hit the target, perhaps?
Yeah, let's say they're just finding their way back into this game. Madison Haley does so well to win the ball back from Ziggiotti. I think Man United get themselves back in numbers, but as you say, Kankovic not managed to hit the target there and really make Tullis-Joyce work. But Brighton positive for Brighton.
One goal this season for the Brighton number 10 in the BWSL. On the 23rd of January, the winner against Everton. Another former Chelsea player in this Brighton side. With Kirby. Breaking forward, Gabadji is waiting, comes back for a low shot from Rule, who was up the pitch for the visitors. And Manchester United having to do a bit more defending in these last few minutes.
Yeah, and again, it's come from a position where, you know, where they started off with the ball, Manchester United, but that player again we just spoke about, Frank Kirby, who does so well to pick the ball up, and then it's those transition moments for Brighton that I think are going to be so key. It's just whether they can find a way to unlock the Manchester United defence.
Venegas to Gabadji. Still going for Gabadji. Michael just behind Haley. Picked up. Comes out to Venegas, who's crosses blocked. Referee blows her whistle, and it's Riviere who's the player who's down.
That was actually really, really good defending from Riviere, just using her body really well. She's obviously come out the worst of the two, but I think it's really, really key intervention from her in the first instance. Just looks to be in quite a bit of discomfort there and fell awkwardly in the tackle.
Just these checks on her to make sure she's okay to continue.
An opportunity really for Manchester United just to regroup a little bit after Brighton has found themselves creeping back into the game, probably being the more dominant of the side, Brighton over the last 5 or so minutes, so probably chance for them to just have some tactical twist.
So this is where the ball has been in the first 21 minutes of this game.
I think that shows, doesn't it, just in terms of Brighton's dominance, really for me over those last 10 minutes, but they have, it's come wave after wave after wave, and you know, United have had to ride that out a little bit, so as I say, really good opportunity for them now just to go back to the drawing board a little bit, regroup. I think when they are getting the ball, you know, in those areas where you see the 41% in the middle of the park, they're just giving it away a little bit too easy, which is allowing those transition moments from Brighton. It's that having that little bit more quality, which Mark Skinner spoke about before the game, and in those key moments as well. So important if you are looking after the ball when they do have it, Manchester United.
That was after quite a positive start, I thought, from Manchester United. Looks like Riviere's okay, which is good. Hence studying of the tablets. Just one win in their last 8 in all competitions for Manchester United. 5 losses and 2 draws in that time. Which is what has led to some added scrutiny on this team and on Mark Skinner.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think, you know, there will be scrutiny because they are such a, you know, massive club, Manchester United, and people will be looking for them to win in, you know, all areas really, and kind of put themselves on the map, which they have done. But I think, you know, if you look at the wider context, a lot more games to contend with, real big injuries in important places.
Here it's to find Rolfo. Now it's with Mala. Nadosi was out of a 18-yard box. just drifting offside there, but I think really good to see the communication from Caitlin Hayes, Minami in that back line. You can see her holding the line well. Hayes will just turn it back out of play. It was Caitlin Hayes who was deep in conversation with head coach while that treatment was being handed out to Riviere. But this Dose coming out, getting the ball, but Elvin Mayer offside anyway. Goes out of Riviere. The Colombian takes the throw. Not particularly well, according to the referee. Yeah, she'll say there's not a goal with that, but clear foul throw there from Kapaji. Opportunity for Manchester United just to get themselves back on the ball and pick up that speed and pace that they started the game and the intensity with Park. Now to 2. By Seke. Kirby. Forward from Venegas, but will end up going out of play. George to Sandberg. Good pressure from Brighton there, really, just to force Tullis Joyce into going long, and then they'll pick up the seconds into this midfield, which, you know, they're controlling at times. Brighton with Chankovic and Kirby coming short just to pick up the ball in those areas. But I have to say, it's when they do have moments like that, and they have done so well to win it back, just lacking that quality, trying to link it through the third. Well, the record in this fixture is very much in Manchester United's favour. They've won each of their 6 home league games against Brighton by a aggregate score of 17 goals to 0. So they have not conceded a goal at home against Brighton in the league in their 6 meetings. But I think those kind of records are always there to be broken, aren't they? Yeah, but that is some record though, isn't it? That will definitely gives you that psychological edge coming into a game like this, especially at home. You know, last home game in front of the fans, you want to put on a show and put on a performance, but to say the run that Brighton are on in the moment, they won't care about what history says, they'll only look at going forward. So, I was going to say, recent history says that Brighton have just beaten Manchester City. Exactly, so, you know, all history goes out the window, and it's what they do moving forward from here, and they picked up a lot of confidence in that win last week against Manchester City, especially coming from a goal down as well, to go on and get the 3 points. Yeah, Manchester City had the lead 5 minutes into that match to be the dominant team in the first half. 3-2 win in the end for Brighton. Encouraged forward by the home fans. Park has Venegas just leaning into her. Quite dropped to 2. It's Kirby who turns it away from her. I actually
thought Jess Park did really, really well in that situation. I think it is easy when you get in those positions to go a little bit too heavy, maybe to foul and give away possession, but she brought her side back into it really high up the pitch. Probably the part of the game that isn't really spoke about as much as that off the ball, that work rate, that intelligence.
Bruno Fernandes was recently shown some videos of Jess Park and said he admires the way that she plays. I think the two players have been compared to each other recently.
She is that type of player though that can just kind of change a game in an instant, and that's what Manchester United expected from her and seen on so many occasions this season.
To Park. Move from Manchester City to Manchester United. Sieg finds Jornen Sandberg. Half an hour played and we are waiting for a save from either goalkeeper first.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the way Brighton have set up and how they're making it really difficult for Manchester United and forcing them to have to recycle the ball, go back at times. There's that organisation and that communication again from Hayes right through to Chankovic and Simons, just sitting in front and making it really difficult for Man United to find any space.
Manchester United have been struggling for goals recently. They've only won one of their last 4 WSL games. They failed to score in the other 3. Goalless draws against West Ham and Tottenham. Either side of a 3-0 loss here to Manchester City. Probably a welcome return to fitness in that case for Ella Toon. To keep an eye on Park and then stays with Letitia as well.
Yeah, there has been times, speaking of Ella Toon as well, where she's just finding herself in those pockets in between the back line and the midfield. So yeah, screaming for it. She wants them to find her and they're just not managing to find her. Manchester United early enough really in the moves.
How different is the preparing to come back into a competitive fixture after an injury and then actually playing in that game?
Yeah, it takes a lot in terms of not only probably you're up there physically because you've had to do all your off the pitch tests and your recovery and your rehab, so you could be good to go in that aspect, but getting up to the speed and the tempo of real match live play, and also that mental kind of capability.
Yellow card comes out for a delay from Charlie Rawl. So time wasting leads to a booking for the Brighton defender. Silly one to pick up, isn't it? Here though it's 2. Racing forward, Rolfo's there, but Nadosa gets there first.
It was a really clever little ball from Toon, wasn't it? Just to try and slide Rolfo in between lines. Just the pace that was a little bit too much. That meant Nadosa could come and claim for it.
Former Barcelona player, Rolfo. Champions League winner twice. With Kovacic, tries to get the better of Riviera, does manage to get the cross in, and Silas Joyce had to get a glove to that. Okay, back in, tipping Sandberg this time, who heads it away. Now Manchester United quickly up the other end. The flag stays down as Mala collects. Park is available. Still with Melvin Mala. goalkeeper just being checked on by her teammates.
That was a fantastic initial ball, wasn't it, from Ziggy just to find Mallard in space. Questions as to whether she was offside, but Nadozi stays alive to it. You can see it just position herself really well, gets down, carrying it to the outside of the post, and Manchester United showing exactly what they can do when they're given the opportunity to find those spaces, which originally came from some really, really good pressure from Brighton, from both sides, with Kafaji, with Seike, but fantastic awareness from Ziggy Otion just to find Mallard.
Well, both goalkeepers called into action in the space of a couple of minutes. And now Nadozi is being checked on. The gloves are off.
Yeah, Tullis Joyce there as well. She did really, really well. As that original ball came in from Kafaji, she was under a lot of pressure. Players on rushing to her, but she managed to get the outstretched arm just to push it out of danger.
Since the start of last season, the Manchester United goalkeeper has kept 20 clean sheets in 41 appearances. Only Anne-Catherine Berger has reached that mark quicker in the WSL.
She's a really, really clean player. Manchester United full of strokes, and when called upon it makes such a difference. As a defender, as a back line, as a midfielder, knowing that when those shots do come in, you've got a fantastic shot stopper behind you.
It's a role that you've got to get right, isn't it, as a club, as a manager? You need to have a goalkeeper you can trust.
Yeah, 100%, as you say, from shot stopping, from directing, from communicating, from being that kind of, obviously, that last line of defence. But then being able to be that player that when you do get the ball, you get it down and you can start the attack and start the moves and have that awareness of where the space is. Similar to Nadozi, I think she's been a fantastic addition to Brighton as well. Another phenomenal shot stopper. She has that awareness whether to go long, whether to come short.
Player with Champions League experience.
This was the build-up that we spoke about before. Kafaji doing really, really well to get that cross in. I think it was Madison Haley who was coming onto it just to try and get that attack in, with pressure from Anna Sandberg, and there you go, Tullis Joyce doing really, really well and gets herself back into position for the next one.
So we're okay to continue. Corner, the result of that save is taken short. Just to the far post. Just to get the glove to it, Rolfo can't quite get the contact she wanted.
Yeah, I think both goalkeepers will be really key, really important in this game, as you say. Nadozi there called upon, comes in claims with the punch as well.
Having not had a huge amount to do in the first 35 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah, exactly. That can happen as a goalkeeper, though. Long spells without having to be challenged, but you have to be switched on at the moments when you are.
Nami comes across to clear the danger. Now with Haley. Goes forward to Kafaji. Negus is offering an option to her left. Still going Kafaji. Plays it into Kirby. Kirby to Seike. Everything but the final ball there from Brighton.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it? You see how Kafaji managed to cut inside, give Gabby George something to think about, Sankeri with the pass. Out to Seike and no one really challenging her or coming on to that 6-yard box area. I think it was Madison Haley for me. I think she just gambled a little bit just to find that space and anticipate what Seike was going to try and do.
Clearance from Minami. spaces that they've caused their own issues with this one. See, the ball just comes back into Tullis-Joyce, trying to play into Miyazawa. It's a dangerous one. Chankovic latches onto it, really composed around the goalkeeper, does really well with the finish. It wasn't all to do for her. Steps onto it, awareness adjusting, take it round, and Tissier can't get there, can't get the challenge in. It's a really, really good finish from Chankovic, but Manchester United causing their own problems there. You know, we've just been speaking about the importance of the goalkeeper and shot stopper, but that's playing out from the back, and yeah, she'll be really, really disappointed with that one. As you say, you saw the expressions on some of the Manchester United players' faces as that goal went in. She did still, she had to kind of keep her cool, stay composed. Maëlys Tissier almost managed to block the shot, but Brighton would not be denied. And that's when you're trying to play, aren't you? You're trying to play Black, Gabby George, play into Tullis-Joyce. She's then trying to play into the midfield, but I'm not sure Miyazawa actually wants the ball. So it's almost as if they're programmed to do it and try it anyway, and completely the wrong side, and makes it easy for Chankovic just to step onto it. An historic moment. Brighton have scored a league goal away against Manchester United. In goes the Brighton goal scorer, and she's going to be shown a yellow card for that challenge. Maybe still the adrenaline a little bit high as she went in on Riviere there. Yeah, Riviere managed to find herself some really good space, just beats her for pace, touches the ball past her. And we'll see here on the rerun just how late Chankovic is there. Finds herself going into the book. A few knocks and bumps in this first half, hasn't she? More, doesn't she? Does lead to a free kick. Chance for Manchester United to respond. Set piece to the far post. Alia gets her head to it first. Now Kirby chasing the ball forward. Yeah, you have to give Brighton credit for the way they've defended, and especially early as well as those crosses or those corners that come in. I think on that occasion it was Madison Haley actually back defending with the header, but you know, if it's not one player it's the other, and it's those first and second balls that are really important to this Brighton side. A league win against Leicester, an FA Cup win against Arsenal, a league win against Manchester City, and now ahead here against Manchester United. Brighton in impressive recent form. So perhaps despite the history in this fixture, not unsurprising. Mark Skinner's side are behind as we head towards the break. Yeah, as I say, they're just picking up confidence the more and more good results they get, aren't they? Again, see Minami doing really, really well there defensively, just to read the ball coming through. They don't concede many goals, Brighton. I think 24 goals all season that they've conceded. So yeah, they're a really difficult side to break down, and you know, Manchester United are finding that today. Yeah, 12 at home and 12 away in the against column for Brighton. Yeah, look at those numbers there as well. How many clearances they've had to make, 18 to Manchester United's 10. You see just how much. At times they have been put under pressure, but they've dealt with it equally just as well. Launch forward to Seke as the sun really starts to come out. The progress with Unity Stadium. I think there will probably be a fair amount of added on time at the end of this first half. Some injuries that we've seen in this first 45. Dario Vidicic, the head coach for Brighton, was asked what his main aim was at the end of this season. He said, just to win games. Leading at the moment. Here though it's with Rolfo. Back to Rolfo as the Brighton block, and now she's surrounded by players in blue and white.
She was, and she found herself in a really good position, Rolfo. There was quite a lot of space, just that extra touch probably just took it a little bit too far out of her reach, which made it a little bit easier for Caitlin Hayes to be able to step on and defend.
Simon now comes back to the Brighton defence. They will have at least 6 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half. Get that stop for treatment to Riviere. I think Haley had a bit of treatment as well, and obviously the Brighton goalkeeper required some medical attention. Kirby.
Just a chance there for Brighton to be smart about it, to control the possession.
Sorvenega's just pointing it back, saying, I'm going to give it to you in a moment. It's not going forward.
We've seen them try and do that a few times, Brighton, just to slow the game down a little bit, stifle Manchester United, so they can't really get into any sort of rhythm.
Comes back to Hayes. Manchester United just watching Brighton pass this at the moment. Comes forward to Haley. She will turn it all the way back to a goalkeeper. Home side need to get the ball back.
Yeah, we've seen Tuna Mallard, just a little bit of switch there too, kind of taking up that high position. Mallard coming out onto the left hand side, but again they're really struggling to find her and create any real space or momentum.
Soon to Tullis Joyce. Back to the keeper again, who has to sort of shake off that error, doesn't she, that led to the Brighton goal.
Yeah, she does. I'm just looking at Gabby George's reaction there as the ball's come in from Tullis Joyce into her, and she didn't look too happy about receiving the pass, which put her under a little bit of pressure.
With Raw. Kirby to Chankovic. Out to Magic. Manchester United sitting back. Kirby forward, just ahead of Kafaji. Haley stays up there as well. Just launched back up the pitch by Manchester United over the head of Rolfo.
Yeah, and then an easy one really for Brighton, as you say, just to be able to pick that one up, go back to the start and the drawing board, and then keep hold of the ball again. And Manchester United being made to work for this. You say it's relatively even over the course of the game. There was ebbs and flows, as we spoke about, but Manchester United dominating the possession. Around 56% of possession, but they've only still both had one shot on target, so it's about them not really creating anything to trouble Brighton in Nadosi's goal.
time might be running out for them to get an equaliser before the break. Create a few more goal-scoring opportunities here with 2. Riviere finds Toon again. Headed away. Yeah, watches it out for a quickly taken throw-in. Toon with the cross. Hitting the top of the crossbar. Yeah, Ziggy up to you, manages to find Toon. Just comes a little bit wide for her. Definitely gone for the cross, I think, but coming off the crossbar itself. But again, I've been impressed with the way Brighton have defended in the build-up to that with Minami. 2 or 3 clearances. She seems to be everywhere at the moment in that centre of defence. Now with 2. Also, not quite the park. Riviere forward this time, off ahead of Mala. Really good support that for me. I think Riviere's trying to find Mallard as she's playing the ball into, but she's putting her straight into that aerial battle with Caitlin Hayes, who we know is so strong in the air. It already makes it quite difficult for you. Clipped away by Sandberg, and we're probably not too far away from that whistle being blown for the break. And the team in the lead have the ball exactly where they want it. So that is it, the half-time whistle blows, and it is the goal from Shankovic that separates the 2 sides at the break. Brighton's first ever league goal away against Manchester United. 2 sets of players head down into the dressing rooms with Manchester United trailing Brighton 1-0 at half-time. few words of encouragement. Elatoon saying, "Come on, let's get this, let's get this going." She wants to kick off, whether Brighton are ready or not. The referee will be the one who decides when this second half gets underway. No changes at the break, but of course both head coaches will be looking towards their subs bench over the course of this next 45 minutes. Potentially that's a good sign for Manchester United, though, that they are out early, raring to go. Potentially going to see that urgency in this second half early on that we saw from them in the first 10 or so minutes in the first half. Eventually the whistle is blown and the team can get this second half underway. How much is said at half-time, about performances, about errors perhaps, or do you keep that for later? There's quite a lot of analysis that usually goes on at half-time. You'll have had analysts watching it maybe from the stands, maybe clipping up 2 or 3 common areas of play or things that they need to improve on going into the second half. So it is quite clear within the messaging that players can see it visually. Here it's with Nala. She's stopped by a raised flag. You can see that Elatoon is just bursting with energy and frustration, probably in equal measures at the moment. Yeah, I think it was her face with Pantu, wasn't it, when the goal went in? Just kind of that, that air of disappointment from the way in which they've conceded, because within this game they have been, playing well. It's just that final link-up play and that bit of quality that's been missing at times. Kafaji still running at Riviere. Brighton gets the early throw in this second half. Player Rosa Kafaji won't be able to play for Brighton in their next game, of course, because she's on loan from Arsenal. And behind the decision to start her this afternoon in what was only the one change for Brighton from the side that started their 3-2 victory over Manchester City. Manchester United making 5 changes following their goal of straw at Tottenham, and Frilina Rolfo is fouled. Yeah, Manchester United just managing to clear the lines a little bit there. A bit of pressure from Minami on Rolfo, kind of, get the side back into just to be able to get the ball down and play now. Brighton's first summer signing, the defender. Very experienced international player. I think when Manchester United are at their best is when you see players like Sandberg really high up the pitch, especially you just saw it on the other side, Jade Riviere, when she can pick up the ball, be direct and join in. It creates that overload for Manchester United, and they are so threatening and frightening when they do it properly. With Toon, both players end up dropping down onto the pitch. There was a foul ultimately from Trankovic, but that is that pressure that they do need in that centre of midfield, that someone that's going to make it really difficult for players when they do get on the ball and turn. With Sandberg. going wide.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen Mallard do this season. It's a fantastic crossfield ball to find Jess Park, who is really, really direct in her play, can't get it on target. But again, really positive signs for Manchester United at the start of this second half, especially when they've got someone like Melvin Mallard who has that awareness, just to be able to switch the play so quickly and with quality.
I call that a quarterback's pass.
Like you did before, Sando.
Yeah, you know it. To Park again. Park with a quick ball in. Will make sure that Mallard can't get to that one. And now it's Haley on a break for Brighton. But although Brighton were running forward, Manchester United kind of kept pace with them, didn't they? They weren't able to kind of find that space, I guess.
They did, and ultimately, again, it was a little bit of, maybe miscommunication between Haley and Kafaji, or that little bit of lack of quality with the final pass, because they did have the numbers. Brighton, I think they had 5 players on rushing and going forward, so they were committing bodies, but it's just that final little bit of lack of quality in the final third.
Madison Haley, 2 goals against Manchester City, also one of the goals in that FA Cup win against Arsenal for the American. Missed a bit of this season with an injury. So those 2 goals against Manchester City means her tally in the league this season is at 3 currently.
Yeah, and she's also got those 3 assists as well, so she is someone who can score, but also someone who can be the provider as well, really key player for them.
Forward from Vicky Austin. Step over to Park. She has to get there. Jess Park seeing a lot more action in the early stages of this second half.
Yeah, we're seeing her just find a little bit more space now, aren't we, out on that right-hand side, and she's not afraid to drive her players, is she? And you see she's always looking up and trying to find those little through balls. Just couldn't quite make it work on that occasion to slot Mallard in at the last minute.
I've seen her score at least one pretty decent goal from about 25 yards out, so will she go for goal herself at some stage in this second half?
That's the variability, isn't it, from Jess Park? And that's what makes it really difficult to mark, isn't it? You don't know what you're going to expect from her. Is she going to take you on? Is she going to drive at you? Will she shoot from distance? It makes it really hard for defenders.
Here with Seke. Out to Kafaji. Venegas on the overlap.
That's really, really clever from Frank Kirby there, just as the ball's coming through to her. Looks like it might run out of play. Little back heel against Mela Tissier and with a side of corner.
So a corner. For Brighton. To the far post. Got to head to that. Racing up to the other end of the pitch. And her confidence seemed to suddenly disappear there.
She does really, really well, Jess Park, doesn't she? Just to drive it forward with her side, and then potentially made the wrong decision right at the last minute, slowed the play down, allowed defenders to come in and recover off the corner.
Now with Riviere. I'm not sure if Jess Park was looking for a teammate when maybe she should have just gone for it herself at that stage.
He knew Tooney was coming up on the left-hand side of her. Potentially there might have been an opportunity to just slip her in. You see it again here. It's a clearance from Mia Zawa just into the path of Jess Park, who can nod it forward and drive, getting herself into a 2v1 situation. Yeah, it's two coming up on the outside of her. I think she just gets caught in two minds as she sees Letitia down the right-hand side as well.
Well, she is looking like the player most likely to create something in this second half. But just about 10 minutes into it, her team have not got an equaliser yet. George back to Sandberg. Field from Seke. Now with to two. Two picks out Rolfo. Sandberg is there. Vanega to make sure she gets the first touch, and the flag raised by the referee's assistant says that that is a touch that takes it out for a corner.
Yeah, it's really good build-up play for Manchester United. If they manage to finish that one, it would have been a really good whole team goal, but it's good defending from Venegas from Brighton. But again, really have to be switched on from this corner and this set piece with Manchester United. Just looking a little bit more alert, a little bit more hungry in the last 5 or 10 minutes or so.
Corner then for Manchester United. Taken short. Letitia, a little back heel from her. And well wide of the Brighton goal in the end. And so, first changes are made. So, Rule is one of the players who's coming on. So Kafaji comes off, and Rule, the other player who's come off, and Rachel McLaughlin comes on.
Yeah, McLaughlin came on for them in the game against Manchester City last week for Brighton as well, and made a difference in the side as they came to that 3-2 win.
And Olive Vargas was the other player who came on. So McLaughlin and Olive Vargas come on. And it is the team in the lead that freshen up their 11. Yeah, as you said before, I think it's important for Brighton, isn't it, as you say, to keep us as fresh as possible with the run of fixtures that they've got. You know, the midweek game coming up against Arsenal, FA Cup fixture, important semi-final for them against Liverpool, and then coming into the close of the season. So, as you say, it's important they manage to keep as many players fit as possible. This is the penultimate game of the season for Manchester United, but Brighton with a bit more football to play.
Yeah, you can say they can still get themselves into an FA Cup final, they can still get their highest ever point tally in the league, so still all to play for them as the side who are developing season upon season, on and off the pitch as well.
Letitia. She's still going, Letitia. Venegas wall in the end.
The clash there between Letitia and Venegas, who ultimately came out with the ball. You see Letitia trying to drive out from defence, trying to create something from her side, use all of her experience and the number of games that she's played for this Man United side consecutively.
The cross.
Really good defending from Sandberg, especially with a player like Seke, who's so good at driving in from that right hand side. Just stands up with her, keeps close to her, obviously concedes the corner but could have potentially been worse, so good defending from her. And they have presence within that box, don't they, Brighton, in terms of height and aerial capability.
Drops in, dangerous. Just fell into that edge of the 6-yard box, where often it's unclear exactly where it will end up. Well, if things stay as they are, then Manchester United would remain on 39 points with only one league game left to play. Arsenal, having played 18 games, would be on 41 points. Chelsea and Manchester City have both played 20 games. Manchester City 6 points above Chelsea on 49 points. Mark Skinner, though, talking about the fact that they have played an awful lot of football this season, Manchester United, because they got so far in the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously started off a little bit earlier in the Champions League as well, so played a really high number of games, high volume of against quality sides as well, and gave a really, really good account of themselves, and quarter final, but as I say, just towards the back end of the season. Roll play.
Riviere will keep the ball in play. Selected by Nadosi. We might be close to seeing the first change made by Mark Skinner.
It would just be an opportunity for them, wouldn't it, just to bring on some fresh legs and potentially fresh minds a little bit. Say the work rate is good from them at times, it's just that final decision making just seems to be off from Manchester United.
Carries on her run. Tries to turn it back to roll play. Off the head of Manami.
I'm not sure she actually went that direction for the clearance, Manami, but it's actually a really good header.
Comes to Park. The Park to roll play, just a bit too strong. I think this might be the opportunity for this change to be made, perhaps, and it will be Rolfo who makes way. Ellen Zangerheim comes on for her. So it is a Swede who replaces a Swede.
Yeah, and a boost for the side as well to have her back from injury. Vongaheim, now they're getting these players back fit, getting them being able to be involved at the back end of the season. You know, she is an exciting prospect. She's someone who offers more attacking options for them as well. So another attacking change, well, a first attacking change for Manchester United.
One of many players, it seemed, who returned from injury as a substitute in that draw at Tottenham. They had a shin injury that had kept her out since the 18th of March. Before that appearance off the bench against Spurs. Forward from 2. First touch from the substitutes. And just offside. Maybe a bit more than just offside. Yeah, I think so. I think she's clearly drifted offside there again. Brighton is holding the line really well. Obviously clearly communicating across that back line. And they're all really aware of what their jobs are today and how they manage that, and you can see that clearly from them. I think it's Minami who's the one leading that for them. Interesting again, those clearances gone up from 29 to 15, and you know, Brighton winning those tackles, putting their bodies on the line as well, Brighton, but you can see they've been under pressure, but again still yet to concede. Simon to Kirby. Right inside the box. To Kirby again. Seke into the 6-yard box. Well, there are a couple of Brighton players throwing their bodies at that. Madison Haley at the far post. How close was she to adding a second for Brighton? I think they know they've had a fantastic opportunity here. Good little build-up play. Seke with a brilliant cross. Simon's in there, Haley in there. Ball across the 6-yard box, beating Manchester United defenders, and it is Haley and Simons right to the back post, can't quite connect with it. Good opportunity for them to put the game out of reach a little bit for Man United. Nala, Toon says, give it to me. Well, does as instructed. Riviere. Comes back to Sandberg. Sandberg again. Two Brighton players stay with her. Blockland fresh off the bench. Letizia down by the chest of Riviere. Now with Park. Not quite to Sandberg.
That ball is from Jeff Park, isn't it? You know, the idea is to get it into the box, but again it's lofted and not with any real pace on it or, you know, intent really, and makes it easy for Caitlin Hayes aerially just to mop up with her head. It's what she's used to do, and it's probably her bread and butter, to be honest.
Still going, Mallard. Smothered by Brighton players. We'll come back to Toon. Shot is blocked. They're appealing for something here, the Manchester United players. I think suggesting perhaps there was a handball as Toon got that shot away, but I think if a Brighton player did touch that with her hand, she might not have been able to pull it out of the way.
Came at really close range, didn't it? It's Mallard who's originally driving in, kind of just runs out of steam at the last minute, and The ball's getting cleared to Toon. It's a great shot. Yeah, I think it's Venegas whose arm they're claiming it's hit, but I'm not sure she even knew too much about it, to be honest.
Sandberg, the latest player to get some treatment. It was her knee that was the injury that kept her out for a few weeks, but it looks as if everything's okay. You can see just a little bit of strapping to the left knee. Getting a lot of appreciation from the fans there, Sandberg. She offers so much to this Manchester United side. Fantastic 1v1 defender, but not only that, going forward she can be so dangerous. So while a few of the players out there rehydrate, it's a warm May afternoon. Skinner and his staff start to consider other options.
Yeah, because if you look at it, both sides have still only had one shot on target. You know, creating things, but actually troubling either goalkeepers has come few and far between.
Now with two. Won't find its way through to Mallard.
The thing we spoke before, wasn't it, when you're coming back from injury and you're asking what it's like to be out there as a player. Sometimes your brain is telling you to do one thing. She had the right idea, the right intention there too, but the body's doing something different, and it's just kind of getting that sharpness back.
So I think Anna Sandberg's afternoon is over. Expect to see her replaced in a moment. Skinner about to make a couple more changes. And there's, well, a coming together here, and you can see that neither player has come out of this unscathed.
No, they're both looking to be in a little bit here. On the boot to Mallard, you can see she's taken it off already. It's that good.
Anna Lundqvist coming on for Anna Sandberg. Simi Awujo coming on for Zigiotti.
Yeah, probably one of her quieter afternoons, Zigiotti. You know, used to seeing her have a real impact on games, so as you say, she's come back from that illness last week. Maybe didn't have the impact that she would have wanted to have today, but there's a player who is having an impact on this game, is Frank Kirby, trying to catch Colours Joyce off their line there with the little chip.
She's got plenty of tricks up her sleeve, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does, and then maybe see defensively as well. You know, the setup there from Brighton, that high press, trying to force Manchester United back, and it was Seike with the tackle, but again now they've got them in a difficult position.
Back to McLaughlin. Kirby says she's been fouled. Referee had a decent view of that and thought otherwise. Ball back with McLaughlin. Down to Mallard. Tries to play it infield to two.
Couldn't quite get out of her feet there, could she, Mallard? Just trying to find Toon, who again was demanding it in the middle of the park. Not shying away from anything, Toon. She wants to get on this ball. It's just that execution in terms of trying to find her in the right spaces.
Opportunity. And Brighton was saying there was an offside.
It looked tight, didn't it? The ball originally coming from Awujo directly across the Toon with the great first time pass around the corner. Again, that Brighton line just holding strong, and did she drift offside? And that looked like it.
Kirby, still going Kirby, is on for left boot. Two. Quickly throws it to Nala. Now with Chankovic. Kirby finds Seke. It might have gone out of Manchester United block. Still in play though as now with Simons. Back to Simons and Kirby. Who's going to have a go here? Comes to Seke. With the touch to take it away. She's now offering Toon an option as she races forward. Brighton though back in possession. Now with Vongaheim to Toon. Awujo, Mallard. Again, it just breaks down for Manchester United, doesn't it? It's just that wrong decision probably right at the last moment. I think it was Lundqvist who'd come up along Mallard's left-hand side in quite a lot of space and waiting to be slotted in and gone with the more difficult ball, but it has got quite end-to-end over the last 5 or so minutes. Just transitionally, that lack of quality from both sides at times. Can you see why Manchester United haven't been scoring goals recently?
Yeah, to be honest, I think at the moment, especially within this game, it's just that decision making in the final third. They get themselves in good areas.
Awujo back to Park. Push perhaps on Toon.
So they get themselves in good areas, but I think at times inside of that final ball or the decision on the ball, so a lot of the balls have been looped up and been aerially today, which is, you know, left into the hands a little bit of Brighton, but Riviere with a good one here.
Riviere cuts it back for Park.
I think also when you're talking about the lack of goals as well, you can't forget that Elizabeth Haaland, who is, you know, a key goal scorer for us, Manchester United side, has been out of the side with injury of late. You think there's missing there in the goal scoring department as well.
Goals for Manchester United included in the away win against Brighton earlier this season. An important player who is being missed by Manchester United at the moment. Here though it's with Kirby. Lundqvist stays with her. She's done really, really well there, Frank Kirby. Wasn't really much more she could have done.
no real teammates in support of her. Manchester United players all around her. She's done really, really well to win the throw. Using her experience within the WSL over so many years, just to get her side ahead in this game and, you know, helping them ride it out a little bit.
Clopton with the throw. Unsurprising that she is shown a yellow card by the referee.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks potentially she's got under her hair pulling that. I'm hoping not, because obviously she's got the yellow card, and if not, then it should have been a red. As you say, we've only got the beauty of seeing that back once, but the shake of the head from Haley was definitely a foul.
Well, that has been a talking point, hasn't it, the last few weeks? Certainly in the Champions League.
Yeah, something we're seeing creep into the game more and more. You know, we saw the one from Kate McCabe where he got a yellow, didn't get sent off, and then in the buying game the player gets sent off for doing it, and it is a heavy talking point within the women's game at the moment, but, you know, it's ultimately a straight red card.
Right, we're about to see quite a few changes. Double substitution being made by both sides. And Maya Letitia is one of the players. Oh, I was going to say, is she coming off? I can tell you that Jade Riviere is definitely no. Just going to make sure I clarify exactly who's coming on and off. One of the changes made by Brighton sees Nadine Nordam come on. And we're also going to see Carlo Camacho, who turns 21 today. And Seke will not be scoring in yet another league game. So Jess Park is going to be coming on. Ian Schiller. And huge cheers for Leo Golden. A great round of applause for Leo Golden as she comes on for her last home game as a Manchester United player.
Listen to that round of applause and huge applause from the Manchester United support there. Just shows just how valued she is as a member of this side. She's a fantastic player, hampered with injuries of late, but when she was on her game, unbelievable. So difficult to defend against. Incredible pace, directness and capability of scoring fantastic goals as well.
Just an engine down that wing. We did wonder if she might be called upon to turn this game around.
Yeah, great to see her be able to come back from injury just in time for the end of the season to get some minutes, and still an opportunity to get her side back into this game as well. It still is only one.
So the players who went off for Manchester United were Jess Park and Ella Toon, with Schiller and Galton coming on, and Seke and Frank Kirby have made way for Carla Camacho and Nadine Nordam. Just under 7 minutes plus stoppage time for Brighton to hold on to this lead or add to it, for Manchester United to change the story of this game.
Now you can hear the crowd, can't you, just urging their side on. They know they're still very much in this game. Again, we'll see it here. Vongaheim in the build-up and the ball back, but good pressure from Mallard on the goalkeeper, just to force this throw.
Which finds Brighton heads.
Lungfish.
Shoved it out for a goal kick for Brighton.
The attendance is up there in the Manchester United Stadium. It's 4,067. Thank you for your fantastic support.
Well, Mark Skinner has spoken about wanting his team to give the fans something to cheer about this afternoon. They have been trying to act as the 12th player, haven't they?
Yeah, so if you look at those stats, you see relatively equal.
Here, Manchester United doing well actually there to keep the ball in play. Schuller with the back heel. Now it's time for Goldson. But she will have been aware of that flag being raised in her peripheral vision.
Yeah, as you say, it's been relatively equal between the two sides. You say both had 6 shots on goal, 1 on target. Man United slightly ahead in the possession, but again it ultimately comes down to that goal and just that lack of concentration in the Manchester United goal from Fallon Tullis-Joyce playing out and causing their own problems for the only goal of the game.
Riviera is back on her feet. Need the medical staff on as Manchester United have a late free kick. Forward from Laetitia. Dozy punches it up into the sky. With Simon. Macho is saying, give the ball to me. Not too long to go here. And if it stays like this, then Brighton will be the first team to beat both Manchester sides back to back. Since Chelsea managed it in November of 2024. Up into the sky from Camacho. Off Venegas. Brighton heading towards a 4th consecutive win in all competitions. And if you're a Manchester United fan at the moment, you want that ball to fall to Leah Goulton, don't you?
Yeah, what a moment that would be, wouldn't it, if they managed to get it into here and she can either provide the goal to get them back into this game or, you know, even score the goal. But yeah, I think you can hear the crowd urging them on. They are still very much in this game. It's those final decisions, you know, the ball when you do get a free kick, just coming from Laetitia, the long ball there with any real direction on it, not so much. I think Brighton are obviously equally being just as good defensively as they have been within the first half. They've kind of dealt with most of what's been thrown at them by Manchester United today.
Watson's throw into the air off the head of Goulton. So Fern talking about Brighton's solid defending. So would you like to nominate your player of the match?
Yeah, for me I've gone with Minami today. I think she's been phenomenal in the centre of Brighton's defence. I think she's really ushered her team. You can see her communicating so well. I think anything that's been thrown at her defensively, she's been solid in the 1v1 battle, but also out of possession as well.
5 minutes then, 5 more minutes. Manchester United goalkeeper, the latest to be booked by the referee. Here with Brighton. Can they confirm this victory with a second goal in stoppage time? That's what they're trying to do, just trying to slow the game down now, keep it out to Manchester United hands. Control it when they do have the ball, but also controlling it when they're out of possession as well. Brighton with that news in the week about the purpose-built stadium that they plan to spend around £80 million on.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal, isn't it, what's going on, the investment behind this Brighton side. I was there as a player when we were going through the transition of the amount of money spent on the training ground, but now to have that stadium, which sounds unbelievable, it's going to be huge for this team.
With George. Fieldawa.
Just seems to be breaking down, doesn't it, for Manchester United? Not quite clicking. Especially when they're trying to play it down, go through the third, going forward.
And even with the number of changes that Mark Skinner has made, those legs must feel like lead now.
To get to this time of the season as a player, you know, the final few games, they do still have things to play for, but again, you're out of a major competition in the Champions League. Been to a final, obviously been in the FA Cup as well, so you know, it's minds and bodies as well that you've got to continue to try and push yourself to go and go again. Look at that play there, Laetitia, she's not missed a game. And that's challenging for anybody. Always with George.
Launched forward by the 58. Malar will take it back, and that is an equaliser. In stoppage time, Schuller on target. It's all square. Manchester United won, Brighton and Hove Albion won.
Yeah, we know they're capable of scoring late goals, Manchester United, and it's the initial ball long from Laetitia, finds Riviere. Really good from Malar just to get a cross in. Instinctive finish from Schuller. inside the box, but they've chased it up. They've found Riviere in space down the right hand side, which is what they've tried to do on occasion. Yeah, and it's a really good finish from Leah Schuller. She's been pushing to try and get that goal for Manchester United in the league, and arguably a decider point on this occasion.
Brighton will be gutted that they just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, they will. They've defended so well. Really long spells in this game. As you say, Manchester United are still pushing for that winner. They have to be switched on in the final minute of this game. Schiller, who
Scored in the FA Cup for Manchester United, but that's her first WSL goal for the side. In this game, will it lead to a point? Could they still get 3?
Yeah, we spoke about dangerous Manchester United can be when they play quickly, play with intent, get Jade Riviere on the ball out on that right hand side. And Mallard doing so well there to get herself involved as well.
Another cross comes in from that right wing. The full-time whistle goes, and it will not be an historic win for Brighton away against Manchester United. The points will be shared in the end. Jankovic for Brighton in the first half, but in stoppage time, a first league goal in a Manchester United shirt for substitute Leah Schuller means that the points are shared in the final home game of the season for Manchester United. It has finished Manchester United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.